Some things return home. Some things find their way back. And some learn the shape of a door. After the figure on Route 7 vanished in episode 5, the sheriff tried to convince himself that what he saw wasn't Mara. Couldn't be Mara. Shouldn't be Mara. But the Hollow does not care what should be. It only cares what it can use. The first incident happened to a man named Paul Reddick, a widower, a quiet man, a man who lived alone on the edge of town in a house that faced the Hollow. Paul had been asleep for an hour when he heard the knocking. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. He thought it was a dream. He thought it was the wind. He thought it was loneliness playing tricks on him. But the knocking continued. Steady. Measured. Patient. Paul got out of bed, walked to the front door, looked through the peephole. No one was there, but the knocking didn't stop. It moved, from the door to the window, from the window to the wall, from the wall to the back door. Always 3 knocks, always the same rhythm, always the same distance between each set. Paul called out, "Who's there?" The knocking stopped. Then a voice answered. A woman's voice, soft, familiar, broken. It said, "Let me in." Paul froze. His wife had died 3 years earlier, but the voice sounded like her. Almost. Not quite. Like someone wearing her voice as a mask. He whispered her name. Anna. The voice repeated it. Perfectly. Too perfectly. Anna. Paul backed away from the door, his hands shaking, his breath shallow. The voice spoke again, closer now, right behind the door. "Let me in!" Paul didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink. Then the doorknob turned. Slowly, deliberately, as if someone on the other side was testing it. Paul ran to his bedroom, locked the door, called the sheriff. When the sheriff arrived, Paul was sitting on the floor with his back against the bed, holding a kitchen knife and shaking uncontrollably. The sheriff checked the house, checked the yard, checked the tree line. There were no footprints, no signs of forced entry, no evidence of anyone outside. But the sheriff found something else, something worse. On the front door, just below the peephole, was a handprint. Small, delicate, female, and wet, not with water, with something thicker. Something that smelled like the stones of the well. The sheriff didn't tell Paul. He didn't tell anyone, because he recognized the handprint. It matched the one from the gas station, the one belonging to the woman who looked like Mara. The second incident happened 2 nights later. A teenage girl named Harper was home alone. Her parents were out. Her phone was dead. The house was quiet. At 11:06 p.m., she heard footsteps on the porch. Slow, dragging, uneven. She assumed it was her father. She went to the door, opened it. No one was there, but the porch light flickered, and the air smelled like wet earth. Harper stepped outside, looked around, called out. "Hello." Something answered. Not with a voice, with breathing. Slow, deep, close. Harper backed up, her heart pounding, her throat tight. Then she saw her. A woman standing at the edge of the yard. Barefoot, clothes torn, hair matted. The same woman from Route 7. The same woman from the gas station. The same woman who left the handprint. Harper whispered, "Mara." The woman tilted her head, as if listening, as if learning. Then she took a step forward. Harper ran inside, locked the door, turned off the lights. The woman walked to the porch, stood in front of the door, pressed her hand against it, The same handprint. The same shape. The same wet residue. Then she whispered something. Not a word. A sound. A low, resonant hum that vibrated through the wood and into Harper's bones. Harper covered her ears, sank to the floor, cried. The hum stopped. The woman left, but the handprint remained. The sheriff arrived minutes later. He recognized the pattern, the residue, the smell. He knew what it meant. The hollow was not sending Mara back. It was sending something that had learned her shape, her voice, her memories, her grief, something that wanted entry. The third incident happened to the sheriff himself. He was sitting in his living room with the lights off and the curtains drawn when he heard the knocking. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. He didn't move, didn't speak, didn't breathe. The knocking stopped. Then a voice spoke. A woman's voice. Soft, broken, familiar. It said, "Help me." The sheriff closed his eyes. He knew the voice. He had heard it on the radio. He had heard it in the hollow. He had heard it in his dreams. "Mara." He whispered, "What do you want?" The voice answered, not with words, with a sound. A wet, dragging inhale like something breathing through soil. Then the voice said, "Let me in." The sheriff stood, walked to the door, put his hand on the knob. Then he stopped, because he heard something else. Something behind the voice. Something beneath it. A second voice. Layered. Distorted. Wrong. A voice that wasn't Mara. A voice that was using Mara. It whispered, "We're learning." The sheriff stepped back, locked the door, turned off the lights. The knocking stopped. The voice faded. The air grew still. But the sheriff knew the truth. The hollow was no longer trying to lure people in. It was trying to get out. And whatever was wearing Mara's shape was the first attempt. Black Hollow is evolving. The well is speaking. The forest is moving. And now, something is knocking. Not to be let in, to see who answers.